Hey there. Welcome to What Keeps You Up at Night podcast. I'm your host, Kiné Corder, the leading national certified counselor specializing in financial hypnotherapy for stress. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. Yay! One of my favorite months. Of course, April was Financial Awareness Month, and that is probably the best, more favorite. But mental health awareness is right close second. And it's the fourth day of Mental Health Awareness Month, and I should have done this post a long time ago, like 4 days ago. Well, actually, I should have done it before that so it could release on May 1st, but I didn't. I don't know if you can hear this music that's behind me or even see I'm in a new location. Yeah. I could not record in my home because the office is in the bedroom in this place that we're living in, and the bed is behind me. And I'm like, no, 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 I'm not doing that. So now I'm out here. The good thing is, this thing about these amenities, people, get these condos and these apartments because of the amenities, but they never use them. So I've been here about 5 or 6 or so days, and I've not seen one person. Actually, I saw one person in this area, so that's why I chose this area because nobody comes here. This is actually where the pool is. To my left is the pool. It's kind of like a clubhouse here. It has beer and coffee and lounge area, and there's another lounge area behind me outdoors, and then barbecue right over there. So quite a nice place. But I'm here because this is part of my mental health. I have a couple of things I want to talk to you about. I have some notes. So we're going to get through those things hopefully in the next 20-25 minutes. If it goes longer than that, I'll probably do a second video. I want to really keep these short as possible so I can keep your whole attention. But I'm going to talk about self-care for us, the servers, right? So if you are a barber and you serve others, then you need to put yourself in a place when you're not working, even when you're working, but you need to put yourself in a place that is mentally pleasing for you. So part of the reason why I chose this place is because it's quiet, there are not a lot of people here, but it's also beautiful, it's pleasing to me. If your workspace, the place that you work in as a barber is not pleasing to you, maybe the people around you are, mm, messy. I don't know the right word, but, they're negative, they don't speak life into your life or their own, right? And you can't expect that from them. If they're talking down and dirty about themselves, they're not gonna talk great about you. So listen to the way people talk about themselves because that's probably the way they're gonna talk about you as well. And, yeah, I did hear that approximate rhyme, don't yeah, I caught it. So, think about that. And if you've been a place a long time, and I know they say like, I forget what the terminology is in the industry, but they're like, don't move around because when you move, you lose. And sometimes that is true, but you're gonna lose clients anyway. That's just the nature of business. People move and go to other places. There are clients that fit that shop that you're in. And then there are clients that really deserve a quiet peaceful place. Maybe it is a kinder shop. Maybe it is a suite. And you have to decide what that is for you. But this first message that I want you to think about is your surroundings. What are your surroundings like? If they are not pleasing to you, if they don't light you up, if they don't give you that yummy feeling, if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to go there, then it might be time for a change. And I don't know what that change is, only you do. So I'm not telling you where to go. I'm just telling you that determine if it's time to go. And the way you do that is think about when you wake up, do you want to go to that place? Or are you like, oh, dreading it? Are you like, oh, can't believe this is what's going to happen next. I don't want to go here. Ugh. If that's the way you're feeling, then could be time for a change. If you get there, let's say you don't wake up that way, you get there and halfway through your day, you're just like heavy, like, oh, you don't even know what it is. Could be your environment, could be your surroundings. That's another way you can determine. The third way is at the end of the day, if you are just so ready to get the hell out of there, yeah, these are three ways that you can tell it is time for you to go. Now, you can stop listening to this podcast right now and just stop and make that decision and go on with your life, or you can keep listening because there are a couple other topics that I want to talk about as it relates to mental health and men. So, who are you talking to? Okay, if you're a barber, do you have someone to talk to? If it is no, that's something that I wanna offer to you, a place to go. But I don't know what you need exactly. I know what I think you need, but I don't know exactly what you need. So when you listen to my build in public, you'll hear me ask you a bunch of questions, barbers, as to what you need, because as I'm building this, I want your feedback. I don't wanna build what I think you want. I wanna build what you really need. But if you don't have anybody to talk to, then you're probably drained. Going back to how you feel at the end of your day or in the middle of your day, if you're heavy, it could be that you don't have a place to like offload some of that stuff that you are carrying. But also, when I say who are you talking to, I'm just talking to men in general. Then who are you talking to? Who is your listening ear? Some of you might be religious and say, "Oh, it's my pastor or my mom." Maybe you talk to your wife. Maybe that's the only person, or your significant other. Maybe that's the only person who will listen to you, who you'll trust with your information. So maybe you talk to that person, or maybe it is your mother. Um, but if you're not going to therapy, since it's Mental Health Awareness Month, I want to encourage you to consider that, whether it is a support group, because maybe there's something else that has happened in your life where you could have access to a support group, or you do one on one. You do one on one. Therapy is an option. But let's say you're not, then I want to train your barber. So if you're watching this and you have a barber and you just send this right on to them, I want to train your barber to be able to support you. But I also need to know what you would want from your barber. And I'm not training your barber to be a therapist. I'm training your barber in like mental health first aid, like that first layer, that first level. The same way, and let me give you an example because a lot of people will sometimes have questions and they're like, wait a minute, hold on, why would a barber become a therapist? No, 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 no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the same information. Like, say, for example, you are having heart trouble. You don't know you're having heart trouble, but you're having some trouble. You go to your doctor, and your doctor says, oh, you're going to need to eat right and exercise. Got it. You didn't have to pay that doctor thousands of dollars to tell you that. You kind of already knew that, but you needed to be reminded. Well, if you went to a nutritionist, that nutritionist doesn't have a medical degree. They have a probably a master's degree. They're gonna say the same thing. "Oh, you're having some trouble. Okay. Well, let's start with your diet. You're gonna need to eat right and exercise." Same exact advice, but came from a master's degree. But let's say you just went to a personal trainer and you're like, "Oh, I'm breathing heavy. I can barely do these exercises, blah, 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 blah. I can't walk up the stairs, not to even exercise. I can barely walk up the stairs. I can't even get to my car. I'm already tired." And the personal trainer is like, "Yeah, you need personal training. Let's start with eating right, exercise." This person doesn't have they might even have a high school diploma. They might only have the 3 weeks or whatever, 6 weeks of training that they went through to become a personal trainer, but they're gonna give you the same advice that that doctor did. Why? Because there's some things that are just universal. You do not need a medical degree in order to do it. You do not need a doctorate in psychology in order to recommend it. And so for that reason, we are training barbers to be those first responders, to be the first aid of mental health. So that is who you can talk to. But I want to give you a framework as to what you can talk to your barber about because you don't want to overload your barber with too much information where he or she can't even carry that load. It might just be too much. So there's a framework, and you need to be taught what that framework is and how to receive that information and then know when to refer you. So that's kind of the first point that I wanted to make today. Um, Trying to see that was there anything else I wanted to say right there? I think I'm gonna stop right there because I think you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying, right? One, who are you talking to? You need to have someone to talk to, especially if you're the person that everybody is talking to. So barbers, that's really for you. Second, if you are trusting somebody, like you're pouring your stuff out on somebody, make sure one, they have some place to go, send them this video, but two, also make sure that you're not overloading them. Know when it's time to go to therapy, but I also want to train them on when to tell you it's time to go to therapy. Um, and some of you aren't talking to anybody. So when I said, who are you talking to? If you said nobody, then that's a whole nother subject that I want to broach. And that is, you can't just keep this stuff in your head. You can't just be thinking about it. You know, this is funny. So, right, I'm saying I never see anybody here. And now there's a whole group of people here. So, you know how you just think. And then you think and you think and you think some more and you think and you think and you think and you think. And then you just got to stop thinking because you can't figure it out. And you cannot use, I think Einstein was the one who said it, you can't use the same thinking to get out of a problem that you used to get into it. So when you're thinking about how you got into this problem, you don't want to use that same thinking to get out of it because it will not get you out of it. So what you're going to have to do is talk to someone else. And the person you talk to needs to be able to hold that load for you. And if that is a barber, that's a barber. If that's a therapist, that's a therapist. If that's your doctor, that's your doctor. But you find someone who can do, who can hear, who can handle it. They need to be doing their own work because they could be holding their stuff into the inside their head. But that's not healthy. And this is mental health awareness month. So I really want to make sure that we have this conversation now because there's not a lot of times that you're going to be listening to this conversation or be having this conversation. So I want to make sure you know that it's mental health awareness month and it's time for you to allow yourself to be. Now I guess these people probably don't know that they're going to be on camera on YouTube. Say hello to the camera people. Anyway, so you're keeping the stuff in your head, you're not talking to anyone, and you're probably suffering. That can we agree on that? You might not be ready to say those words, but how does it feel when you think about these things? When you're allowing yourself to think. How does it feel? Just think about it. How does it feel? Does it feel all yummy and great and awesome? No, it doesn't feel yummy and great and awesome. It feels the opposite of yummy and great and awesome. It feels yucky and you are suffering. So when you think about the fact that you are suffering, is that how you want to feel? I know you're like, duh, silly question, Kane. And I'm like, is it though? Is it though? Because you've been feeling this way for a long time. Maybe you like it. And you're like, that is so condescending. And I'm like, no, it is observant. If you stay in it this long, there's a payoff. What is that payoff? Why is it good for you to stay in this suffering? Sometimes it's because misery loves company, right? Sometimes you have other people in it with you, and you've got a place you can go to complain and complain and complain and complain and complain, and they'll listen because they have the same misery you are. So going back to surroundings, it could be the people you're around. Um, there's another payoff you could be getting from this suffering. It's like that victimhood. You now you're playing the martyr. Oh, for you, and take care of all these people, and they don't appreciate you. And you've been doing this since you were 4 years old. And oh my goodness, and your dad left when you were 6. Oh wait, you never even knew your dad. The only time you saw him when you were 6. And I'm not making light of your situation. I'm saying that story is old. You are 56 now. And you can't keep telling that same story. What are you going to do now? Because here's my last point, and that is who is suffering because you are suffering. Do you hear what I'm saying? So you holding this stuff in your head, isolating yourself, self-medicating, or maybe the opposite. Maybe you're going out and surrounding yourself with people. Some people isolate themselves. Other people just surround themselves with people and then not they give. I once worked with a gentleman whose children grown, and they said they never had their father to themselves because they always had to share him because that was his way of sort of medicating himself. Self-soothing was just to have a bunch of people around him. I know deep relationships. It was new people all the time. But if they decided they were going to have dinner with their father, they could be at dinner at a restaurant. And he could call over some people that maybe recognized him a little bit because he was a prominent person in their area. And oh, come on, sit down, bring up a chair. Like they thought they were going to have dinner with their father, but they're not. They're not. And so this was his escape was just to just be around people, people, people. You could be doing that too. But then who's suffering, right? In this case, that man's children were suffering because they never got time with their father. So who's suffering? Because suffering is not love. And I know a lot of times for men, if you can put somebody through a certain amount of suffering, then you almost feel like, all right, they must really love me because they took on all that suffering. I was working with a guy once, and he said that the way that he would know if it was time for him to get married is that this woman that he was with would let him cheat on her twice, suffer, right? And then let him come back. And then that's when he would know that was the woman for him. What kind of nonsense is that? Like that you have to put a woman through so much to her prove her love for you instead of you just allowing her to love you naturally, n- normally, freely, maybe even completely. But I guarantee you, if you are having this thinking like, oh, I'm going to put a woman through some suffering to get her to love me, to see if she loves me, to prove that she loves me, I'm I'm telling you, she might stay because she's loyal, because she's faithful, because she has her own set of trauma that makes her codependent. But you will be chipping away at the love, but more importantly, the like, and even more importantly, the respect that she has for you. I know, I know. So that being said, there is so much we have to talk about in this mental health awareness month, but I'm going to talk a lot about it. I might do one or two more videos. I'll do some build in public videos. But what I'm really focused on is training barbers to have these conversations with you. Because if you're not talking to anyone, or if you're surrounding yourself with a bunch of surface level friends, and that's what you consider talking, just spilling out a few feelings and nobody being there enough for you to really give you the truth, yeah, you are silently suffering, and poor you. Yeah, but it's time to talk. And that's all I'll say. I'm out. I love you muchly. I will see you sooner. Enjoy Mental Health Awareness Month.